And what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers take on the Montreal Canadiens as they meet up for the third and final time this season here in South Philadelphia at Wells Fargo Center. The pleasure, good evening, everybody. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you for the next 15 minutes or so. But usually, I would talk about these big matchups in this game here tonight, but there was a lot of news coming out of South Philadelphia today. Not Phillies wise, because obviously the Phillies were the team to talk about today, especially especially the first day of the 2025 MLB season. But it came down at a cost for the Flyers, and yes, John Tortorella and the Philadelphia Flyers has become no longer a Philadelphia Flyers head coach, and he has gotten actually. I mean, I'm still pretty shook up. I'm not shook up by it, but I'm kind of shocked by it. That, as you can see on this template here, that says John Tortorella has gotten fired by the Philadelphia Flyers, as it was basically the big news that happened all day today. So we're going to talk more about this, more importantly than anything like that, because it's still a big storyline in this game here tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. We'll get into our key matchups, and also we'll get into who's trending up, trending down, and injury reports, starting goaltenders, and everything about that too. But this was kind of the news I actually kind of woke up to say the least, because I woke up to that news today. Obviously, hearing the news about John Tortorella being fired by the Flyers. But there's a lot to, unpack here. Obviously, there's a lot to see what happened behind enemy lines about what happened with this team. So let's just get right into it. So, as you know, John Tortorella came into the Flyers in 2022 looking to try to get a better start. He was a very good successor in many, many years with the teams he was with. The Tampa Bay Lightning won a Stanley Cup with Tampa Bay back in 2004. Also, spent some time with the New York Rangers for the time being, and then also spent some time along the way with Columbus, and also was successful over there too. But the biggest concern for me for the Flyers losing John Tortorella, obviously, it's been a day that a lot of people said that they saw this coming, and especially what he was trying to do. But this is something that I actually kind of found very, very weird, to say the least, because I was really a big fan of John Tortorella going back to when he was a teammate, when he was a part of so many coaches and players and all that. And I said to myself, this is a guy that somehow in some way would try to change the team around. I would have thought he would have probably changed the team into a better team they were. Last year got a better positive out of it than it was this season. I mean, there was a good start to the season this year, and then they started to fall through the cracks. But the thing that it really struck me is that this was a couple of days ago. I guess this was after, so we're talking, okay, they took on Chicago, then they lost that game. So this was Toronto. So it was the night after the Maple Leafs beat the Flyers 7-2 against the Flyers. And basically said to myself, okay, so the Flyers are going to just look like they're going to try to do whatever they can to try to get a better draft pick and try to figure out what they're going to look like. And even my colleague Austin Hamill said on this program here on Hockey Night on Board a couple nights ago, said that it was going to be a really one of those games that the Maple Leafs are going to just come out of nowhere and just beat the daylights out of the Flyers. And they did so on that Tuesday night. But then the press conference came for John Tortorella when the Flyers got done the matchup against Toronto. And basically, the one thing that really shocked me with John Tortorella too is that he actually was like saying, basically saying that he didn't want to be a part of the Flyers head coaching tree anymore. He didn't want to be a part of the rebuild anymore. And he basically, I wouldn't say he pulled a Dick Vermeil, like kind of like what he did back in 1982 when he was burnt down. And he said, I had enough, and I need to step away. But this was actually shocking to me to see somebody that we thought that he was one step closer to becoming a team that will bring back relevant Flyers hockey to the city of brotherly love. And unfortunately, 3 years later, like it was with Pedro Laviolette after the Stanley Cup year, only less than 3 years. And then after that, Laviolette went to went to Nashville, and it was a very good success there in Nashville. Got to a Stanley Cup final in his, I think, second or third year as a member of Nashville. But back to Torts here. It's shocking to me that he was really asking for his release, obviously. So he's basically saying to Danny Briere and Keith Jones that he said, like, just get me out of here. I can't take it anymore. I mean, but it just showed me something about Tortorella that I thought he would be one guy to try to help this team to become one step closer to what they are as a team and what they're trying to be as a team. But the concerning part is that you have to be a part of the program to see what the success you have here. I mean, if you were just thinking this was going to come by overnight and try figuring out that you're going to try to do whatever you can to get back to relevancy after a long time of irrelevancy like the Flyers have had in the last handful of years with coaches like Tortorella, and even more so like like Alain Vigneault, even like a Craig Berube here and there too, and even like sometimes you have like a Dave Haxtell along the way too. But this was concerning to me because I was really thinking that Tortorella would have been one guy that could have helped the Flyers get back to the relevancy of what they were trying to be back 15 years ago. And from that timestamp was after that Stanley Cup run. But like I said, I mean, this is a really at first I thought, okay, Danny Briere was responsible for firing him, but then I read some reports and I saw some things on Facebook and social media saying that this was like actually people saw this coming with Tortorella. So it annoys me to think that Tortorella would be one guy to think that somebody would just stand there and say, like, just ask for his like release for his pink slip or like his like release papers and says I had enough and I'm done. I mean that's the stuff that pisses me off more than anything. It's just that if he wasn't in your long-term plans, like why would you hire him in the first place? But I know it wasn't Danny Briere who hired him at the time. I think it was still I don't know who it was. That was the GM back in 2022. I think I would be sure. I mean, it wasn't Chuck Fletcher. I think Fletcher was gone by then. But this is something that the Flyers need to do, looking in these coaches that they have nowadays, because that coaching tree is going to be wide open now since Torts has left here. I mean, now you're going to think about, okay, who are you going to bring in to replace him? I mean, now you got Bradshaw as an interim for the next couple games until they find out what they have in store with Bradshaw. I mean, there's a couple of coaches here and there that could probably fit the bill. Like, for example, Stanley Cup champion Joe Quenneville is an example. Bruce Boudreau is another example. Jim Montgomery, the former Bruins coach, who got to a Stanley Cup final, depending on if Jim Montgomery is going to stick around with the Blues at the end of the season because he's a member of St. Louis now. It's gonna be really interesting to see. But yeah, there's not a lot of coaches out there going to say, yeah, you can probably win by day one. But if you're going to be in it for the long haul, you got to understand something. This team's going to be a long ways away from being relevant again. And the question is that depending on if it's somebody that's in the organization or outside the organization, that's going to be what's going to be the most important key as we get closer and closer to puck drop here. And the last thing I'll say about this too is that, sure, I mean, it was good to see Tortorella get the Flyers back to that relevancy for a little bit back at that last year. I mean, it was a fun hockey team. This year was a little bit of a up and down swing, but just to me, I mean, the way he said, like, I don't want to do this anymore and just wants to quit right then and there, it just shows me, how, I wouldn't say soft. I mean, soft's not a word I would say, but I would say it was very disappointed to hear that Tortorella wanted to get out of here now before, like, things started to escalate and turn into a tailspin more than anything like that, too. All right, let's get into our key matchups of this game and also what's going to be happening in this game tonight. So Montreal comes into this game tonight. Similar to the Flyers, they're a good team. They're one team that has to look one step closer to try to probably think what they have in store for the upcoming future. Good to see some players are back for the Canadiens in this game tonight. I think Brandon Gallagher's back after missing quite some time due to a passing of a family member. And I actually saw that a couple of nights ago. It was pretty sweet that he tried to. He was like doing something to pay tribute to his like one of his relatives that passed away. And if you didn't see that, it was pretty cool, by the way. But as far as rookies, the part you got to keep a close eye on in this game here tonight, it's probably the one that's going to be in on top of that rookie case with Flyers forward Matvei Michkov and also Malcolm Celebrini. I think it's Lane Hudson. That's a guy that you got to keep a close eye on in this game here tonight because, excuse me, the one thing that these two players are very good rookies, and they're probably one step closer to win that Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year. So it'll be something to look forward to seeing. I don't know much about Hudson's stats. That is very good, but he's I think right now second or third behind Celebrini and Michkov for points as a rookie. And for me, I think that's the most important thing too for this Canadiens team. They're not the same Canadiens team that we all remember back in the day that had PK Subban, and the list goes on and on about that too. Even like a Zach Koivu, and the list goes on and on with that too. But I think they're probably moving in a positive rebuild, unlike the Flyers that are looking to try to go on the outside looking in. So it's something to keep a close eye on. The last time I think the Canadiens played very well was a couple of nights ago when they won a game against San Jose in overtime. So it's something to keep a close eye on too, especially with players like Celebrini and, like I said, Hudson and even Matvei Michkov coming into this game here tonight, especially coming into this game, who's going to be that Rookie of the Year when it's all said and done. All right, let's get into who's trending up and who's trending down on this topic here tonight. Well, it would be the topic of the night will be who's trending up is that the Flyers hopefully find a coach to see what they look like in this game here tonight, and especially what they look like in games that could be in a trending up direction, especially after losing Tortorella like literally just happened today. So there's going to be a real tall test to climb to see what they look like. And for who's trending down, well, that's going to be the big question. Who's going to be trending down on this topic, especially who's going to be the coach, who's going to be a coach coming into tonight, obviously. Like I said, Tortorella, like you said, Torts is gone, so Brad Shaw is the interim, and we'll see what he has in store. Last thing I'll say about this, too, about the one thing about trending down, I think the one thing that kind of shocked me a little bit was Rocky Thompson's still around, but Tortorella isn't. But, probably at the end of the season, they're going to find out what they're going to be made of. Probably bring in Ian LaPerriere from the Phantoms to see what they look like because right now I think LaPerriere, I don't think he's going to be the odds-on favorite of becoming a coach for the Flyers, but that's where the offseason hits, and exactly a few weeks from now, the season will come to an end, and then at the end of that, it'll be draft time to see what the Flyers have in store, and they'll be looking for a new coach to see what they have in store for the upcoming season of 2025 and 2026. All right, so that's going to be the thing about who's trending up. The trending up is going to see who's going to be the top-tier coach that the Flyers will get, or somebody who's going to get that is going to help this team get back to relevancy again, unlike Tortorella was supposed to, but at the same time, it did not happen. But that's another story for another day. All right, so let's get into our injury report for this game here tonight. So basically the same injuries that we reported the last couple games. Garnett Hathaway, Rasmus Ristolainen, both out tonight for tonight's game. Rusto, like I mentioned many times on this pod, many times before, still missing the game, missing out action due to that upper body injury, and I would be sure probably in the next couple months, probably not the next couple months or next couple weeks or so, they'll just probably shut him down for the rest of the season, which will be the obvious thing to do because especially there's no such thing that the Flyers got to make the postseason. And you could probably say this season is a wrap. And I mean, Hathaway probably will come back for a game or two just to get his footing back and just to see what he looks like in the process. But that would be something to be interesting too. So that's majority of the injury report here. So Rusto and Hathaway in this. But the good news is, speaking of people that came back and played very well, and that should be in our key matchups in this game too, is that keep a close eye out for Ryan Poehling. He's been playing very well for the Flyers as of lately. So keep an eye out for number 2-5 for that center that used to be a part of the Canadiens, hard to believe too. And he's been playing very, very well as of lately. So keep a close eye on what Poehling would do here tonight in this game against the Habs. All right, let's get into our starting goaltender matchup before we get out of here. So in goal tonight for the Flyers, there will be Sam Ersson once again for the Flyers after not a good outing on Tuesday night against Toronto. It was a bad outing once again for him. Once again, this time he is continue to like lose games and one step closer. Actually, I wouldn't think he would be probably getting his win number, getting his win or again win number 20 on the year. I'm sorry, I'm starting to trample my words a little bit. His 20th win of the season. But anyway, he's hopefully tonight will be lucky number 20. Hopefully, but has a record of 19-14-5 this season, and has a goals against average of 3.00. So I gotta probably keep a close eye on it. This is probably a similar record. Actually, it could be. I think his record's probably now 19-15-5. I think I had the wrong calling card here for that starting goaltender matchup. So this is probably from a couple of nights ago. So I've been pretty focused on the John Tortorella situation all day. So and also the Phillies playing in their first game of the 2025 season. So it's kind of like it's a busy day here in South Philadelphia. And then you got the Sixers playing tonight if you're interested in that. But that's another story for another day. But anyway, for the Canadiens tonight, it will be Jacob. I don't know how to say this. Jacob Dobes. Jacob Dobes. He's actually one of the backups for the Canadiens behind Sam Montembeault. So it will be their backup in goal tonight for the Canadiens. And he has a way different record than Sam Ersson. Only played a few games for the Habs here in this season. He's 6-3-2 this season and has a goals against average of 2.75. So like I said, Ersson for the Flyers and Dubé in goal for the Habs. And for my final predictions in this game here tonight, well, I see maybe will finally get out a little bit of their struggles and also get back. I wouldn't say get back to the normalcy that they used to have back in the day, but it'll be interesting to see what they look like tonight under Bradshaw. First time since Bradshaw became the coach for the Flyers, and it'll be something to keep a close eye on this game. So, it's funny. Yeah, he has just a name that would be like a last name. You're thinking, okay, some guy named Bradshaw, but that's actually his name. His name is actually Bradshaw. I'm not even kidding you. So that's the guy who's taking over for John Tortorella. But also, this is something that I thought. It will be a good game to get back on track here tonight. And I forgot to tell you guys about this too. I should bring it up right now. The Flyers in the last power plays of the game have now 0 for the month of March. They are 0 for 31. So my predictions in this game tonight, just try to get back. I want to get back on track with the power play, but just try to do something that makes it a little bit more interesting. Even if Rocky Thompson's still there, just do something that makes it more interesting to see about what they look like, especially what they look like in this power play. And like I said, they're 0 for 31 on the power play, and they have given up 14 goals in a matter of the first few games. So 7 on Sunday, and also again against Toronto on Tuesday night as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they have in store for this game here tonight too. All right, that's going to wrap up this portion of the Hockey Note on Board Flyers pregame show. I want to say thank you for everybody, if anybody who was chiming in, also trying to watch the show. You can also check out I think this week or probably next week we'll probably have a new show coming up talking about Phillies baseball. So I think that's bats, and I don't know what's the I probably have to get it. I probably have to get it from either Scott or Mitch to give me a little bit of the rundown about the Phillies post games. But that's, I think, starting on Sunday. Joe and I will be doing, my buddy Joey Marks from the Patterson Ave Sports Show, and I will be covering all the Phillies. Getting ready for that Phillies game later on tonight. But more importantly, like that, so speaking of which, I will be back again on Saturday. I'll be back on Saturday afternoon. Another matinee game for the Flyers as they battle the Tampa Bay. Take on the Buffalo Sabres, not Tampa Bay Lightning. They're done with their season series against Tampa Bay, and they close out their season series against the Sabres on Saturday afternoon. That's a 1 o'clock puck drop, 12:30 pregame show right here on Hardcore Sports Network. And now for everyone behind the scenes and for everyone that made it work here, now for myself, James Scorza, and this has been the Hockey Note on Board Flyers pregame show. And I would like to say thanks for watching, everybody. I'm gonna probably watch the rest of this Phillies game. Until then, we'll catch you guys next time, and let's hope for a win. But let's try to get back on track, and hopefully we can try to nurse this hangover. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.